Carl Jung discovered a secret that can transform the way you see everyone around you and yourself. It's not found in someone's words, their achievements, or even the image they carefully present to the world. Instead, Jung revealed that true character is exposed in subtle, almost invisible ways, patterns that operate beneath conscious awareness. These are the things people cannot hide, no matter how carefully they construct their persona. And once you learn to recognize them, you'll never look at another person or yourself the same way again. Picture this. You're sitting across from someone you thought you knew. Maybe it's a friend, a colleague, or even a romantic partner. They appear confident, put together, even trustworthy. Yet something feels off. You can't quite name it, but your instincts are signaling that there is more beneath the surface. Jung spent decades studying what he called the persona, the carefully crafted mask we all wear to navigate social expectations. He discovered that beneath that mask lies the shadow, the hidden self, and that there are two reliable patterns that reveal a person's authentic character. Most people reveal these patterns without realizing it, and once you understand them, you'll gain an extraordinary ability to see the truth behind appearances. These insights are not complex psychological tests or academic theories. They're observations accessible to anyone willing to look deeply. And here's what makes them both fascinating and unsettling. They don't just reveal the character of others, they reveal your own. Every reaction, every judgment, every moment of discomfort or admiration is a reflection of your inner world. Jung wrote, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. These patterns, subtle yet consistent, force us to confront our own shadow, our unacknowledged desires, fears, and traits." Most people navigate life believing they can judge character by confidence, charm, or success. They assume that charisma equals authenticity, that appearances reflect reality. Jung understood that these are all part of the performance layer, the mask everyone wears to be socially acceptable or admired. True character, he discovered, lies beneath this performance. And no matter how skillfully someone manages their image, two specific psychological signatures inevitably slip through: the ways they project their shadow onto others, and the ways their persona cracks under pressure. These patterns are involuntary, subconscious, and extraordinarily revealing. By the end of this journey, you will not only be able to read people more accurately, but you will also gain unprecedented insight into yourself. You will learn to observe without judgment, to respond with clarity rather than react unconsciously, and to see every interaction as a mirror reflecting your own unconscious patterns. Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." These two reveals are not merely tools for understanding others. They are invitations to consciousness, to self-mastery, and to authentic connection. Throughout this exploration, you will witness stories, examples, and practical applications that illuminate these truths. You will learn to notice the micro-expressions, subtle gestures, and emotional reactions that unconsciously reveal a person's shadow and authentic self. You will discover how to engage these insights ethically, using them to foster empathy, understanding, and growth rather than judgment or manipulation. And most importantly, you will come to see that the ultimate goal is not mastery over others, but mastery over yourself, the ability to navigate life consciously, authentically, and compassionately. Prepare to embark on a journey into the hidden architecture of the human psyche. We will explore the shadows, the masks, the projections, and the moments when true character emerges. You will learn to see beyond performance, beyond appearances, and into the authentic patterns that define who people really are. And as you do, you will begin to see yourself with the same clarity, stepping closer to consciousness, authenticity, and the extraordinary potential within you. Have you ever met someone and felt that there was more beneath the surface than they were showing? Perhaps a colleague, a friend, or even a partner. They seem confident, polished, and trustworthy, yet your intuition whispers that something isn't quite right. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists in history, dedicated his life to uncovering these hidden layers of human nature. He discovered that true character isn't revealed through words, superficial actions, or even polished accomplishments. No, character is revealed in subtle, almost invisible ways. The slips, the projections, the reactions people cannot fully control. Today, I want to guide you into understanding these hidden truths, because once you see them, you will never look at people the same way again. Jung called the face we show the world, the persona, a carefully crafted mask designed to protect us, impress others, and navigate society. But no matter how skillfully someone wears their mask, the unconscious mind betrays them. And here lies the first profound insight. Character is not what someone chooses to show you. It is what emerges when they are unguarded, when their defenses slip, and when their inner world quietly speaks without permission. Imagine sitting across from someone during a conversation. Everything appears normal, yet a tiny micro-expression flashes across their face, a slight tension in their posture, or a sharp tone in their voice. These subtle signs, often ignored by most, are the windows into their authentic self. Jung understood that these unguarded moments are where truth lives, and those who can read them can see the real person beneath the performance. Let me paint a picture. Imagine a high-performing executive, outwardly calm, charismatic, and respected by all. During a team meeting, a junior colleague innocently challenges one of their ideas. Watch carefully. Does their voice rise just slightly? Does their posture stiffen? Do they subtly dismiss the comment, redirect blame, or undermine the colleague's credibility? These are not random reactions. These are the echoes of their inner insecurities, the glimpses of traits they may reject, deny, or fear in themselves. What Jung teaches us is that these reactions are mirrors of the mind's hidden architecture. The unconscious cannot hide, and when the mask is tested, the real patterns reveal themselves. But here's the most unsettling part. This framework doesn't only expose others' true character, it holds up a mirror to you. Every judgment you make, every reaction you have, is a reflection of your own unconscious material. Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That means every time you feel irritated, envious, or unusually impressed by someone, it's worth asking yourself, what am I seeing in them that exists in me? The insights you gain about others are also invitations for self-discovery. And when you begin to notice these patterns, you start developing a level of awareness that changes the way you interact with the world. Now, think about the people who have left a lasting impression on you, the ones you instantly trust or distrust. What you felt wasn't just about their actions, it was about the unconscious signals they were sending. The intensity of their reactions, the subtle shifts in expression, the unconscious projections, they all speak louder than polished appearances. Jung discovered that by observing these patterns, you can see both vulnerability and strength, fear and desire, rejection and longing. These are not mere judgments. They are keys to understanding authentic human nature. By the end of this journey, you won't just be reading others like an open book, you'll begin reading yourself. You'll see your own tendencies, your hidden desires, and your shadow traits reflected in the world around you. And here is the promise. The more conscious you become of these hidden dynamics, the more authentic and empowered you will feel. You will navigate relationships, work, and life with clarity, compassion, and precision, because you are no longer reacting unconsciously to the masks and projections of others. You're seeing clearly, and in that clarity lies freedom. Have you ever noticed how some people can't help but criticize others with intensity that feels almost disproportionate? Maybe it's a friend endlessly complaining about someone's arrogance, or a colleague obsessively pointing out flaws in others. Carl Jung taught us that these reactions are not just about the people being judged, they are a window into the person doing the judging. He called this process shadow projection, the unconscious mechanism through which we see in others what we have rejected or hidden in ourselves. And here's the fascinating truth. By observing these reactions, you can uncover someone's deepest fears, desires, and vulnerabilities without them ever saying a word. Imagine a man named David, a highly successful architect, known for his integrity and meticulous professionalism. In every meeting, he complains about a colleague, Marcus, calling him manipulative, disingenuous, and overly charming with clients. To the casual observer, David appears righteous, principled, even justified in his criticism. But Jung would ask us to look deeper. Notice the intensity of his emotional response, the sharpness in his voice, the tension in his jaw. These subtle signs reveal something David cannot consciously acknowledge. He envies Marcus's social ease and charm, qualities David has buried, because he fears they might make him appear fake. The harsh judgment he casts outward is actually a reflection of his own unaccepted traits. Shadow mapping works because the unconscious does not distinguish between self and other. Every projection is a mirror, reflecting aspects of the psyche that remain hidden from conscious awareness. When someone reacts with unusually strong emotion, whether anger, disgust, or even admiration, they are revealing their own internal conflicts. Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Each projection is a clue, a signal from the depths of the mind, waiting to be interpreted. The more intense the reaction, the closer you are to the truth of that person's shadow, the part of themselves they have refused to acknowledge. But shadow projection is not solely negative. It also reveals qualities people secretly admire or desire. When someone elevates another person, consistently praising talents, creativity, or confidence, they are often projecting qualities they possess but have not yet claimed for themselves. The key is to watch for emotional intensity. Strong reactions, positive or negative, are like neon signs pointing toward hidden aspects of the psyche. If you learn to observe these patterns without judgment, you gain unprecedented insight, not only into others, but into yourself. The power of shadow mapping lies in its universality. It operates everywhere, in relationships, at work, even in fleeting interactions with strangers. Have you ever felt inexplicably irritated by someone's behavior in public or on social media? Or found yourself unusually drawn to a person's confidence or charm? Those moments are not random. They are unconscious reflections of your own shadow, your unacknowledged fears, desires, and potentials. The more you notice these patterns, the more you start to see the interconnectedness of human behavior, the dance between persona and shadow that governs our interactions. And here is where it becomes transformative. Shadow mapping is not a tool to judge or manipulate. It is a tool to understand and grow. When you observe another person's projection, you have a choice. You can react unconsciously, feeling triggered, frustrated, or defensive. Or you can pause, reflect, and use that insight to understand both them and yourself. By seeing what others project, you illuminate your own hidden tendencies. This practice cultivates empathy, self-awareness, and psychological maturity, allowing you to navigate the world with clarity and depth. Jung believed that by embracing these reflections consciously, we move closer to individuation, the integration of shadow and persona, the path to authentic selfhood. In every interaction, every judgment you witness, lies a lesson waiting to be discovered. Shadow mapping teaches you to see the invisible, to perceive beyond words and appearances, and to recognize the profound truth. What people reveal about others is also a revelation about themselves. And when you apply this insight thoughtfully, your relationships, understanding of human behavior, and self-awareness deepen in ways that are subtle, powerful, and lasting. You become not just an observer, but a participant in the unfolding truth of human nature. Have you ever watched someone under pressure and noticed a subtle shift in their behavior, something almost imperceptible, yet revealing? Maybe it's a friend becoming defensive over a minor comment, a colleague reacting sharply when their idea is questioned, or a partner subtly shifting tone when criticized. Carl Jung called this phenomenon the breakdown of the persona. The persona is the mask we wear, the image we carefully craft to navigate the world and protect our inner self. But masks are fragile. Under stress, threat, or unexpected challenge, cracks appear, and the real character, the true self, emerges. Understanding this is one of the most profound insights for reading human nature. Consider Sarah, a marketing director known for her calm professionalism. She has built a reputation as someone unflappable, always composed and in control. But during a high-stakes client meeting, her team's strategy is unexpectedly questioned. Observe carefully. Her voice tightens, her posture stiffens, and her words begin to defend not just her ideas, but her image. She interrupts, deflects responsibility, and subtly undermines the client's perspective. On the surface, it may seem like mere defensiveness, but in Jungian terms, this is a revealing moment. Sarah's true character surfaces when the persona she has carefully maintained is threatened. Her reactions reflect underlying insecurities, priorities, and patterns that remain hidden during ordinary interactions. Mask maintenance works because every persona requires psychological energy to sustain. The more elaborate the mask, the greater the effort, and the more fragile it becomes when tested. Stress, unexpected feedback, or social pressure triggers unconscious defense mechanisms. Some respond with aggression, some with withdrawal, some with clever rationalizations, but all reveal patterns that are otherwise hidden. Jung wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, but most people spend enormous energy maintaining who they think they should be." By observing these micro moments, the slight tone shift, the fleeting facial expression, the instinctive gesture, you gain insight into the authentic character behind the mask. Mask maintenance is not just about noticing vulnerability, it is also about recognizing strength. The most integrated individuals, those Jung called individuated, display consistency between their persona and authentic self. Under pressure, their reactions align with their values. They respond rather than react, and they maintain equilibrium without losing authenticity. Observing how someone handles challenges, criticism, or unexpected change offers profound insight into their psychological maturity, resilience, and capacity for growth. In these moments, you see not just who they are, but who they are becoming. The practical application of this insight is transformative. When you watch someone under pressure, resist the urge to judge superficially. Instead, notice patterns. Do they attack, deflect, or manipulate to protect the mask? Or do they pause, integrate feedback, and respond authentically? These patterns are predictive of how they will behave in relationships, at work, and in moments of conflict. And here is the deeper lesson. Observing these patterns in others trains you to notice your own persona defenses. When your mask is challenged, your reactions mirror the dynamics you see in those around you. Jung believed that through conscious observation, we can transform defensive reactions into conscious choice. Mask maintenance, combined with shadow mapping, provides a powerful framework for understanding human behavior. Shadow projection shows what people unconsciously hide or reject. Mask breakdown shows what emerges when their constructed image is threatened. Together, they reveal the hidden architecture of character. And the ultimate revelation is personal. By seeing how others maintain their masks, you gain insight into your own defenses, your own patterns, and your own potential for authentic expression. This practice cultivates compassion, self-awareness, and the ability to respond with clarity rather than react unconsciously. When you watch carefully, every interaction becomes a lesson. Every slight defensiveness, every tension-filled pause, every subtle gesture is information data about the person before you and the reflections of your own inner world. Jung wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." By understanding mask maintenance, you become capable of transformation both in yourself and in the people around you. You learn to move through life with awareness, to recognize defenses without judgment, and to respond with clarity, compassion, and authenticity. Once you understand shadow mapping and mask maintenance, the next step is where true transformation begins, the integration test. This is where observation becomes empowerment and insight becomes personal growth. Carl Jung taught that simply recognizing unconscious patterns in others is not enough. The ultimate measure of character is not only noticing these projections or breakdowns, it's how a person responds when their own hidden traits are reflected back to them. The integration test shows whether someone can embrace their shadow, confront their defenses, and grow through self-awareness, or whether they remain trapped in rigid, unconscious patterns. Imagine David, the architect we observed earlier, who harshly judged Marcus for being manipulative and socially skilled. Now, instead of ignoring this judgment, you gently reflect it back to him. "David, I notice you seem bothered by Marcus's charm. Have you ever wished you had that social ease yourself?" This simple, non-judgmental question triggers a choice. David can respond defensively, insisting, "I'm authentic, not fake like him," reinforcing his rigid shadow pattern. Or he can respond with openness, acknowledging his envy and unclaimed potential. "Yes, sometimes I wish I could navigate social situations more smoothly. I admire that skill in Marcus, even if it makes me uncomfortable." The integration test is revealed in that response. The first reaction shows unconscious resistance. The second shows conscious engagement with the shadow. The integration test works because it forces a confrontation with the unconscious. Shadow projection, left unchecked, can dominate behavior. Persona defenses, left unexamined, control interactions. But when someone faces these patterns directly and reflects on them consciously, psychological growth occurs. Jung emphasized that this is not about perfection. It is about awareness, curiosity, and willingness to observe without judgment. The person who passes the integration test does not suppress discomfort. They explore it, learn from it, and integrate it into their understanding of themselves. There are three patterns that emerge through the integration test. The first is the unconscious type, who remains unaware of their projections and reacts defensively when confronted. They are often surprised by the reactions of others and repeat the same cycles, blaming external circumstances for internal struggles. The second type is aware but defended. They recognize patterns intellectually but cannot integrate them emotionally. They may admit, "I know I judge people," yet their reactions remain automatic and reactive. The third, and most evolved, is the integrated type. These individuals can observe their projections with curiosity, learn from them, and respond with authenticity. They are not perfect, but they are awake to their psychological processes. This test is not limited to observing others. It is a mirror to your own mind. Every time you notice a reaction in another person, you can ask, how am I experiencing this internally? The practice of reflecting projections back, both in yourself and in others, builds emotional resilience, self-awareness, and deeper interpersonal understanding. It is a skill that transforms every interaction into an opportunity for growth. By passing the integration test, you learn to respond consciously rather than react unconsciously, turning everyday challenges into lessons in authenticity and emotional mastery. The power of the integration test is subtle but profound. It moves you from passive observation to active engagement with the psyche, teaching you to embrace discomfort, explore vulnerability, and recognize patterns without judgment. Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." When you consciously engage with shadow projections and persona breakdowns, you transform potential triggers into tools for self-discovery. Every insight about others becomes an insight about yourself, and every reaction becomes an opportunity to choose authenticity over defense. Mastering the integration test is not a destination, it is a lifelong practice. It requires mindfulness, patience, and courage to face what the unconscious reveals. But the rewards are extraordinary. Clarity in relationships, freedom from reactive patterns, and the ability to navigate life with conscious choice rather than habitual defense. When you apply this test consistently, your understanding of yourself and others deepens, and your capacity for empathy, connection, and authentic expression expands exponentially. The integration test is the bridge between awareness and transformation, guiding you from seeing hidden patterns to embodying psychological mastery. Now that you understand shadow mapping, mask maintenance, and the integration test, there's one crucial principle you must grasp: ethical awareness. Carl Jung's insights into human character are powerful, but power without ethics is dangerous. Psychological understanding can easily become a weapon if misused. Observing someone's projections or persona breakdowns gives you deep insight, but if you wield this knowledge to manipulate, control, or judge, you are no longer practicing psychology, you are abusing it. True character assessment must serve connection, empathy, and growth, not ego, domination, or superiority. Consider a situation where you notice a colleague's defensiveness under pressure. The ethical approach is to understand the pattern and respond with empathy, not to exploit their weakness. If you instead use this knowledge to corner them, discredit them, or gain advantage, you become what Jung warned against: a shadow hunter. Someone obsessed with analyzing others to avoid confronting their own inner world. This is the perversion of insight, the transformation of awareness into a tool for unconscious power rather than conscious growth. Ethical awareness is what keeps your psychological practice aligned with authenticity, compassion, and moral integrity. Jung repeatedly emphasized that understanding the unconscious is inseparable from understanding the human experience. He wrote, "The healthy man does not torture others. Generally, it is the tortured who turn into torturers. By observing projections and persona defenses ethically, you not only deepen your understanding of others, but you also confront your own tendencies to manipulate, control, or judge. Every time you notice a strong reaction to someone else's behavior, it's an opportunity to ask yourself, am I using this insight to elevate myself above them, or to elevate my understanding and compassion? The answer determines whether your practice serves consciousness or ego. In practical terms, ethical awareness transforms how you navigate relationships. In romantic partnerships, noticing shadow projections in a partner allows you to respond with curiosity and care, rather than criticism or blame. When a partner reacts defensively, the question becomes, what is this revealing about them? and about me. In professional settings, observing mask maintenance in colleagues gives you insight into leadership qualities, resilience, and growth potential without exploiting weaknesses. Even in parenting, noticing your child's reactions can guide compassionate teaching rather than judgment. The ethical lens ensures that every observation fosters growth, understanding, and authentic connection. But ethical awareness also applies inwardly. The mirror effect Jung described, where observing others reveals your own projections, requires that you treat yourself with the same compassion you extend to others. When you catch yourself projecting, defending, or judging, ethical awareness means exploring those patterns without self-condemnation. It is about choosing reflection over reaction, curiosity over criticism, and integration over repression. By applying insight with ethical intent, you transform unconscious impulses into conscious choice, both for yourself and in every interaction. Jung's vision was not merely psychological mastery, it was moral and spiritual as well. Awareness, he believed, is inseparable from responsibility. When you cultivate ethical awareness, your observations become instruments of connection rather than weapons of judgment. You learn to hold space for the complexity of human nature, recognizing that everyone carries shadow material, persona defenses, and unacknowledged traits. Your insight becomes a bridge rather than a barrier, a source of empathy rather than superiority, a guide toward authentic relationship rather than manipulation. Ultimately, ethical awareness is the foundation for conscious living. Without it, psychological insight risks becoming a source of arrogance, control, or isolation. With it, however, insight becomes a tool for liberation for yourself and for those around you. By observing, understanding, and responding ethically, you cultivate the qualities Jung admired most: compassion, integrity, self-awareness, and the courage to face the unconscious within yourself and others. Ethical awareness ensures that character assessment is not a game of power, but a path to genuine human connection, psychological growth, and authentic selfhood. Now that you understand shadow mapping, mask maintenance, the integration test, and the necessity of ethical awareness, there is one final principle that ties it all together: the mirror effect. Carl Jung described the world as a reflection of our inner psyche, and every interaction we have with others is a mirror revealing aspects of ourselves. The people who trigger our strongest reactions, whether admiration, irritation, or envy, are showing us parts of our own shadow, our hidden desires, and our unclaimed potentials. The mirror effect transforms character assessment from an external observation into a profound journey of self-awareness and personal evolution. Imagine a friend whose constant need for validation irritates you intensely. At first, you might judge them harshly. They are insecure, attention-seeking, or selfish. But when you pause, as Jung encourages, and reflect on your own response, you begin to see the truth. That irritation is not solely about them, it reflects your own unacknowledged patterns, the subtle ways you seek approval without consciously noticing. Suddenly, what seemed like an external problem becomes a doorway to internal insight. Every projection you witness, every mask you observe cracking under pressure, is not just information about others, it is a map of your own inner landscape. The mirror effect operates on multiple levels. The traits you most despise in others often reveal your own disowned qualities. The traits you most admire frequently point to potentials within yourself that you have not yet claimed. Jung called this positive projection, casting your unlived possibilities onto those around you. When you recognize someone's creativity, confidence, or courage and feel drawn to them, it is a reflection of the qualities already within you, waiting to be integrated. Conversely, the traits that trigger strong negative reactions are shadows, calling for acknowledgement, understanding, and conscious integration. Through conscious observation and reflection, the mirror effect creates a feedback loop of self-awareness. The more you see in others, the more you see in yourself. Every judgment, every moment of irritation, every admiration becomes a data point for self-discovery. Jung wrote, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." Awakening occurs when you no longer react unconsciously to the world around you, but instead recognize that the world is reflecting your own psyche. This awareness transforms relationships, communication, and your own inner experience. The ultimate purpose of the mirror effect is not simply self-knowledge, it is conscious transformation. By observing your reactions and understanding the reflections in others, you cultivate the ability to respond rather than react. Conflicts become opportunities for growth. Difficult people become teachers. Your own impulses and defenses become guides for conscious choice. You develop the ability to hold paradox, to navigate complexity, and to maintain authenticity, even under pressure. Consciousness spreads, not by teaching, but by embodiment, by living in alignment with self-awareness, ethical insight, and psychological maturity. Jung believed that individual consciousness was the key to collective transformation. When one person sees their own shadow, accepts their persona defenses, and responds consciously, they create a ripple effect. Others feel the shift. They sense the space for authenticity, for curiosity, for connection. Over time, awareness spreads, not by preaching, but by example. The mirror effect turns character assessment into a tool for evolution, personal, relational, and even cultural. You become not just a witness of human behavior, but an active participant in awakening consciousness. Finally, the mirror effect reminds us that the highest purpose of understanding human character is self-realization. The insights gained from observing projections, persona cracks, and integration responses are mirrors of your own journey toward consciousness. Every interaction, every reaction, every subtle observation becomes a teacher. As you practice this awareness, you cultivate clarity, compassion, and authenticity. Jung wrote, "Man's task is to become conscious of the contents that press upward from the unconscious. Through the mirror effect, you awaken not only to who others are, but to who you truly are. Every reflection, every projection, every mask you witness is an invitation to step fully into your own consciousness, to become fully human, and to influence the world with clarity, authenticity, and compassion."